Thank you, Y. King. Y. King is an incredible leader with a critical mission, and Forterra is beyond proud to be able to work with Y. King on a project, in his very powerful phrase, a project that is creating a place to be. So thank you very much, Y. King. Okay, friends, it's time for that talk. I'm going to ask each of you to invest in our work for this place, so we stay the very best of anywhere for any of us to call home. Young, old, rich, poor, first American or new American. All of us. Hey, don't pass out those envelopes yet. Put them down. I have something to say and I need your attention. Thank you. I'm told that the CEO, in fact, should not make the ask, that it's self-serving. Well, follow with me here. I think I have a solution. Over the years, Forterra has been a very restless place. We've been never satisfied, never complacent, always aiming to do more. Now, from the outset, we were not satisfied with just saving the very best of our pristine lands. We knew we needed to save working farms and working forests to provide food and fiber, jobs, and also habitat and clean air and clean water. Friends were shocked. I mean, friends were alarmed when we took on this work. Now, it's considered commonplace. Then we said it is time to get to scale, where 90,000-acre projects or 150,000-acre projects were well within our reach. People asked us why a regional organization would dare to think that big. We said this region, our region, deserves nothing less. Finally, we knew we had to work just as hard to make sure this place has room for everyone, all of us, where everyone can find a life of dignity. We can't just worry about those wonderful places that we sometimes visit and otherwise leave to nature. We have to be equally committed to our cities and towns. So we started the Strong Communities Fund, which you heard some about this morning already. Now, when we began, we heard we had no business in our cities. Now that interconnectedness between how we live in and build up our cities and how we care for our woods is decidedly understood. So like I said, we're very restless and so frequently on the very cutting edge. Through the years, we've saved 275,000 acres. Yeah, oh yeah. We've bought crop, dairy, and tree farms, wildlands, wetlands, and woodlands. But we have bought, oh, so much more. Take a look. We bought gravel mines. We've bought gold mines. We've even bought active railroads. We bought a few subdivisions, and get this, we bought a fireworks factory. That was sort of explosive. Now, ain't that the damnedest list you've ever seen? And there's another 440 transactions just like those. So why? The work has always been tough, crazy complicated, and the unexpected around each and every corner. But the why is so very simple. The why is so very fundamental. It's so a tribal elder can stand in the sacred place of his beginnings. It's so a little girl can play in a cool forest on a hot summer day just a few blocks from her apartment. It's so we can still visit places that haven't changed in 100 years or in 1,000. It's so a young family can find a good home that they can afford. So we keep alive the stories of the many immigrants who started new lives here. Together, you see, together, These add up to be the keystone of a great and sustainable and sustaining Pacific Northwest. That's why I used to take phone calls at dinner when our kids were very little, and why I cut short a few vacations. Thanks for your big-hearted understanding. Where are they? Ty and Sina, and most of you, all you, Carolyn. It's why many weekends and weeknights were spent working with my really fabulous Forteran colleagues. It's why I stayed here these 30-1 years. And now, if they move the screen, oh yeah, there it is, go back. I've met the best of people here, bar none, heroes of the Pacific Northwest. And I've worked along colleagues with a cause, a dedication to a cause far greater than themselves. So today Forterra is a force for the very best, for this place, for our environment, and for our many peoples here. Okay, here it comes. So my friends, it's time for me to drop my first shoe. You guys ready? It's time for me to pass forward the job of CEO, and for me to focus on a critical initiative that I'm going to tell you about in a moment. So the question is, now will Forterra continue to be its restless self, keeping the Pacific Northwest the best of anywhere to call home, working unceasingly to make sure this place we live stays the place we love? I know the answer. I know the answer is unequivocally yes, because I know the next CEO. This person has the vision and also the chutzpah, absolutely so, the intellect and heart, the passion and the grit to lead Forterra and its mission for the Pacific Northwest. You see, we worked together for 25 years. And I am ecstatic that this person is willing to take the job of taking us to the next level. I, of course, remember Forterra's early days. When I started, Forterra was all of this. One middle of the folder. Well, when Michelle Connor, our first employee, joined me, it wasn't much more, not hardly any more at all. It may have been all of this. We found a box of colored folders. In those early years, we worked out of this tiny, overheated, hot room in my attic. Flies buzzing about. I knew when Michelle had some particular assignment that she dreaded. I could see it from a mile away, because she started cleaning that tiny little hot room. She started cleaning that tiny little hot room in a frenzy. Today, she leads our toughest, most far-reaching work. And we've been recognized in the Wall Street Journal, the Atlantic Magazine, and the Washington Post for the scope and breadth of our innovation. So, here's my second shoe to drop. You ready? I am thrilled to introduce our next CEO, Michelle Connor. Go for it.
When I met Gene, some of you may remember me. I was young. We were introduced by someone you may all remember with a soft spot in your heart, and that's Greg Ball, who was a true spark behind some of the storied successes of the Washington Trails Association. Now, I was volunteering, and Gene was on the board back then. And when I was talking to Greg about my future, he said, there's a guy you have to meet, because you and Gene would make a perfect team. The reason he gave was because we were just crazy enough, it'd be too good. I kid you not, that's what he said. I don't know if he meant productive, hilarious, or perhaps a bit of both. And I'll leave it to you to decide. Now, a good friend to us back in those days was Hazel Wolf. In one of those early years, you may remember her. She's one of the most enduring and endearing environmental leaders this country has ever known. And I feel really lucky to have met her. Hazel started off as a communist. And as many of you know, she ended up a bird lover. The usual progression, I think. In every phase of her life, Hazel was an activist and a change agent. A bit of wisdom she once shared with Jean and I comes to mind. First, before they realize you are serious, they find you annoying. Then, when they see you will persist, then they find you aggravating. And then sometime after you win, well, then they find you endearing. I think you might be able to see where I'm going with this. Jean can be annoying. That's a good capture of that, right? And we all know he can be aggravating. But I can also attest that Jean is endearing. Jean is endearing in chasing the opportunities that keep this place we live the place we love. And I've seen it in his willingness to talk with anyone, stranger, friend, or foe, at his place or theirs, and something I've witnessed up at Scotty's Dairy Freeze in North Bend over a double cheeseburger. I've also seen it in his ability to weather disappointment. When we were still in that tiny attic, Jean had spent 2 years securing the donation of 20 properties to replace a long washed-out road with a new waterfront park. I mean, imagine that in central Puget Sound. If any landowner declined, that project would fail. After long negotiations, and as Jean mentioned, nights away from his family, every landowner agreed to take part. But then, at the last moment, people who wanted to rebuild that road prevailed. Our dream died in a single, unexpected council vote, adding the rebuild of the road into a budget bill. And it was over. 2 years of work for naught. There was no rework. There was no redo. A road would be built instead. When Jean got that call from someone who'd had to walk out of the council chambers and find a landline, because there weren't cell phones at that time, I was there, and he slumped in a chair, and I didn't know what was going to happen. In that tiny attic, it was filled with that huge kind of silence that you get with a heartbreaking lump in your throat. Then I saw that guy there, shove himself back upright, tap on the desk 3 times, and pick up the phone to go back to work on our next project. We never talked about it again, truly. We moved forward, and what followed has already produced 275,000 acres of land saved for good. And I think that early challenge built an organization that's willing to take on the toughest of challenges without fear of failing. It's something that you'll find that Joel Connolly wrote about this morning in the PI. I don't think you know about it, Jean. So a little bouquet for you.
We got something for you.
Uh-oh. Now, I'm not going to kid you. It's a big deal to lose this guy's leadership at Forterra. All of us at the office, we've been trying his 3-knock trick. Trying it, still has only helped a little bit. But all of us, like Jean, we're determined to move forward because this place deserves no less. As I think you know, I'm quite honored to take up the challenge, to fill Jean's big shoes, which I suppose someday may end up at the Pike Place Market's Big Shoe Museum. Yet, Looking ahead, I'm confident we'll succeed because my colleagues and I, we work hard and we're determined. But most of all, I'm confident because of all of you. Just look around this room. Here we are together, so many friends, allies, partners, and I know you care so much about this place and about our success. So going forward, we'll draw on what we've learned from Gene, not just about the ins and outs of real estate, but about grit, persistence, and thinking big, right? It's in Forterra's DNA. It's what we will continue to do. That's our mission, and that's our promise to you. Now, this is the part that we've practiced, and there've been a few tears, so I'll try. Gene, working with you, it's been a gift, and every now and then a downright pleasure. Speaking on behalf of the entire Forterra team, thank you. Now, Gene, as for what's next.
I'm coming.
See, he's going to do what he's going to do. In a tribute, the Seattle Times noted that Hazel Wolf had aged, not just gracefully, but vigorously, triumphantly, and perhaps most importantly, happily. Y'all may remember, Hazel lived to be 102. And Gene, you're just in your mid-60s. So yeah, as Bobby McFerrin puts it, be happy. But all the same, you got plenty of time to be aggravating in the years ahead. And this place calls for no less. So keep at it.
Boss.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. These are beautiful. Thank you so much.
Michelle, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 24 years of working with Michelle. It's just been an incredible opportunity. Someday I'll tell you stories about Michelle. So truth is, tomorrow, April 27th, I do turn 66. So Michelle, by my reckoning, I have 5 years to be annoying, 30.5 years to be aggravating, and then maybe 6 months to be endearing. Carolyn, I'm sorry.